And I'm singing. That's Brooke. Everybody, if you didn't know, sorry, that's Brooke.
That's Liz.
And this is Head in the Clouds. Boom, 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 boom.
Hey everybody, we are so excited to be back again with you guys, breaking it down. So Liz, do you want to tell them what we're talking about today?
Yeah, today we're going to talk about a major day cloud fail. So excited.
It ended up being a really good thing because we learned from it and we now have an awesome system in place to avoid that mistake, and hopefully you guys can learn from it too.
We were 3 years old at the time, and we did not have good processes in place for the number of edits that a client was allowed to send us. So this client was one of our first, probably big time rebrands that we had, and it was with a school district, which meant there were superintendents involved, there were principals involved, there were teachers and staff involved, but then there was also a 9-member elected board involved, and that was really awesome.
So you're saying there were a lot of people, meaning a lot of opinions were also
yes
on this decision for this new logo.
Absolutely. So there was a lot of rounds of approvals that we had to go through for this logo just to even get started on it. So
typically too, we only have about 2 to 3 people as like the main decision makers, tops, in a project. So this was a lot more people giving an opinion.
So our first presentation was our initial logo that we presented to them. So we got a lot of good feedback from the immediate group of people we were working with at the school. But then once the logo started getting out and kind of making its rounds to some of the others, there was a lot of pushback and a lot of, well, what if we tried this? And how about this? And could we do this? And it ended up, the project was initially just a lump sum. It's $5,000 for this rebrand here. And at the time, we did not know that we should cap the amount of edits that a client was allowed, and to do that before we get into version 18 of the logo. And so we just kept making revisions and kept trying. So one of my biggest fails in this whole process was that I was not great at leading the client through the process. And, clients, it's usually once or twice in their lifetimes that they actually go through a branding process, when for us, we go through it, every quarter, so we understand and know the process really well. And so it's our jobs to lead the clients through that process and to help them understand what the creative process is like and how we can create a big win for everybody involved. I'm surprised they did not fire us in the middle of the project, because I was not good at leading the process at all. And so what ended up happening was we just got into this endless tailspin of edits that we didn't understand what they wanted, and they, being the client, didn't understand how to communicate with us because they're not the designers. And it's my job to ask the right questions so they know how to answer and to be able to interpret their answers into visual communication. That's my job. And so it wasn't on them at all. It was on us. The process was crap. My process was crap. It got to the point where in our meetings, I was literally opening up Illustrator and trying to create a logo with them in the room telling me what to do, because we were at such a loss. I think in this case, there was a lot of miscommunication. And again, this was my fault for not asking the right questions and not having a better process in place for this. at one point the client would say, I want something abstract. And so in art school, we learned that abstract means it doesn't mean anything. Abstract means it's just like shapes that don't have a meaning to it until you assign a meaning to it. Well, so I took that as what I learned in art school. It's abstract, so you want something that doesn't mean anything. Well, what she actually meant was that she wanted something that was stylized. She wanted the actual letters, the initials of their letters, to be stylized. And it was my fault for not understanding that. Like, I should have figured out a way to communicate with her better. And I should have asked better questions. And so throughout that whole process, it was just one long, ridiculous Illustrator document. In fact, I looked at what version of Illustrator that we got to in our file name, and what did I say it was, Brooke? Version
30 or 23?
No, it was in the 30s. I think it was like 37, version 37, which is bonkers. Like,
that was just from you wanting to make the client happy and come to a great end result.
Mm-hmm.
But the process there just wasn't refined.
Mm-mm.
And when you open it up to outside people that weren't in those initial meetings, that's when you get a lot of conflict for those people, because they're hearing all of these other voices in their head and then they're not able to make a decision. And so we have learned from that now, luckily, and we have an awesome process now where we are protected, and it just helps the client as well come to an end result that they love.
Despite all of that, our designer Kelsey was able to come up with something that was superb, and it was something that we could all really grasp a hold of. And by the grace of God, it ended up with a really great logo and something that was a huge win for the entire school district. I'm going to show you a few examples of some of the logos that we did.
And we have to say, they were awesome.
Yes, some of them were. Yes, some of them were. Some of them were cheesy as crap. But at that point, we were just drawing literally whatever we could think of. It was a lot of brain dumping.
It was like a breakthrough once you figured out that she meant what she meant.
Yes.
Then you could shave out all of that other stuff.
Yes. So if you watched in the most recent episode that we dropped, we talk all about our discovery process. And I will say that is what was missing from this branding project that we did with this client. And it's out of that we realized, one, we needed a much more effective and collaborative process. And then we also needed to cap the number of edits that a client was allowed to send per project. So now we only allow 2 to 3 edits per service that we offer. So if we are writing something and designing something, they get 2 rounds of edits on the content and they get 2 rounds of edits on the design.
And I think it's important too, just a good tip on that, when you're going through those rounds of edits with your client, keep in mind who they're showing these to. So we always make a note to tell them, only show this to the people that you're with in this room, and maybe one other, important business partner. It really kind of varies depending on the project. But just be really mindful of who you're opening up feedback to, because they weren't in the discovery process.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yep, that's a really good point, Brooke. So what we like to do is we like to say anybody who could bomb this project for us needs to be in the room. If anybody's opinion really matters, once we send them the creative, then that person needs to be in the room when we're doing our initial discovery. I do want to give a shout out to Kelsey, the incredibly patient and wonderful designer that did the work on the Papillion La Vista Community Schools project that we're talking about. You know, like, it was my crappy leadership and bad process and just overall inexperience that, you know, created a lot of just a lengthy process that was unnecessary. But you know what? Kelsey stuck it out, and she showed up, and she kept creating, and she kept working on it, and she kept coming up with ideas. And I just want to give her a shout out for her tenacity in that. And then also, honestly, the client, they were amazing people. You know, Andy, the superintendent, and then the other kind of couple of people that we worked directly with, they were awesome. And I really appreciate them honestly just hiring us and giving us the opportunity to work with them and stuff. And I would hope that if we ever get to work together again, that they would know that we have refined a lot of our processes and we've grown up a lot since then. And so it'll be better.
Right. Hopefully, us sharing this with you just helps you feel better if there's something, you know, that's just nagging at you from a project that didn't go the way you thought it would.
Yeah.
Just try to look back and see, you know, you've learned from it, you've grown from it. You're not the same designer or marketer or whatever industry that you're in. We keep on evolving, and it's only going to make you better in the end.
Yeah. The whole adage of fail early and often is a true thing, especially in the creative space. You have to be able to fail as a human and as a creative in order to find success. Yeah. And, you know, that's just kind of part of the deal. You just have to keep trying. And you know, I really like to see my failures as not failures. I really see them as just lessons that I've learned and ways that have allowed, you know, opportunities that have allowed me to grow and to grow our studio as a whole and our team as a whole.
Yeah. It's not winning or losing. It's either winning or learning.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's how we look at it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're all well, staying at home, being healthy and quarantined and all the good things.
Yep, that's all we have for you today. Make sure to like this video, share it, subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.